Who are you?
Actually, I wanted to be an architect, product management.
Always passionate about organic growth.
Yeah. In 1992, in Georgia, from scratch, 2.5 million registered users, out of which approximately 60-70% are monthly active, owned back then by Societe Generale. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this made us the biggest banking institution in banking group.
Because for Uzbekistan is a bit unusual, so having a bank without any branches. But at the same time, then
those businesses and other businesses, some money, you need to reach them, explain them, so many other things. In Uzbekistan, Salom card, which is, in my opinion, the best daily banking product in the country. It will definitely disrupt the market.
But you spoke to Click as well, yeah.
We never wanted to merge Payme.
This call option structure.
And this reflects, Sarwar was the first CEO of Payme. Basically, we put from our side
PE ratio, like price to earnings. It's like around like 6%. Really great job. It's not something that you got connections with someone. You made it like
as soon as possible.
Yeah. Hello, hi everyone to what is most interesting in Fintech podcast series. I'm your host, Nodira Sadikova, and here is our valued guest, Nika Kurdiani, who is the Chief Executive Officer of TBC Bank, Uzbekistan business. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So how are you feeling today?
Good. Always good. Nice weather.
This is going to be a super phenomenal podcast, as I'm a first woman podcaster who's just like taking an interview from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I watched lots of podcasts from Alter Ego, Siridin, Infocom, and even Pulse in English language. And definitely it's like super insightful. But this time, we won't touch base those topics that had been covered with those amazing bloggers. We'll talk more about M&A specifics that happened between TBC and Payme, because everyone knows about it, but no one knows the process. How has it happened? Because it's the biggest M&A deal in Uzbekistan with a considerable amount of inception of funds as a foreign direct investment into Uzbekistan. It's like really great indicator. And also this is one of my favorite deals. But apart from it, I really would like to know you as a person, how you just like ended up in this fintech and banking sector, what is like inspiring you. So we will just talk about this.
Absolutely. Let's go.
Please tell me about yourself. Who are you?
No, I'm Nika. Basically, currently I'm responsible for TBC Group's business in Uzbekistan, which consists of three businesses. One is TBC Bank, which is a fully digital mobile-only bank, first time in Uzbekistan. Then Payme, which is exactly the deal that you just talked about, and it's one of the biggest payment institutions in the country. And the third one is Payme Nasia, which is installment lending business and BNPL business. Basically, these are the three businesses that we operate in our ecosystem. Before that, and I'm also part of the group's executive committee, we call it, which is basically the management board of TBC Group. And before coming to Uzbekistan, I spent approximately 6 years in Georgia. I'm Georgian, nationality is Georgian, and I lived 6 years before 2020 in Georgia. Before that, I lived in Kazakhstan for almost 5 years. Before Kazakhstan was Turkey. Before Turkey was Austria. Before Austria was Spain and Ukraine. And then before that was Georgia. And before that also, I spent lots of time in Russia in my childhood, in Moscow. So lots of places. I missed Germany as well. I studied in Germany when I was 21. So lots of places. When I got back from Germany to Georgia in 2002, actually, I started working in a bank, because that time in Georgia, banking system was really on the rise. There were lots of interesting things happening. So I got acquainted with a person who was back then deputy CEO at Bank of Georgia. And he introduced me to one head of department who wanted to hire me. And this is how I got into banking. But I never wanted to be in banking, actually. I wanted to be an architect.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
because my family in Georgia is all about architecture, and everybody at home is architect or artist. So I also wanted to be an architect, but the times in Georgia when I was studying were difficult. So basically, I was advised kindly by my parents to maybe pursue something else rather than architecture. So yeah,
Wow.
this is how I ended up in banking.
That's really vibrant journey, and also like how you're assimilated in different cultures like Austria, Germany, Russia, and even Kazakhstan. You mentioned now
Spain.
Uzbekistan, Spain. Like really, I mean, different dynamic culture, and Turkey as well.
Yeah,
Cultures. How
totally
you're like
different.
quickly adapting to such. I mean,
I think initially it is difficult, but once after kind of you get used to all these different techniques of adaptation, I would say, then more or less it is similar. So cultures are similar. I don't think any of these cultures are far away from Georgian culture, because Georgia is exactly in the middle of kind of Europe and Asia. So Central Asia is very close to us. Plus it is post-Soviet. Turkey is super close. It's like neighboring country, and we have lots of things common with Turkey. Europe is something that is super close as well. So I never been to cultures that are totally different to me, like Latin America or US or UK. So I would say those cultures would be quite difficult in terms of first-time touch. But these ones were quite easy.
Yeah. So actually pursuing kind of an educational journey in an architecture, then you are now in this fintech and banking sector, and you made like massive advancements in every country that you used to be, and now you're here. So you got like super big market share. And the first profession that you just like seized as in fintech and banking, what was your first impression? It's like, I'm going to be here for a couple of years and then I will go to the architecture. Was it like that or?
No, it was never like this, because I liked it a lot from the very beginning, and it was very dynamic. The first thing I touched was product management in retail banking. Yeah. And to be honest, ever since then, I always remained in retail and commercial banking. I never did corporate banking or M&A, which is actually the topic of our discussion. But I was always in small and medium businesses, mid-corporate for a while, retail banking, affluent banking, mortgage banking, all this kind of stuff. The first job was product management. And back in the day, I'm talking about 2003, actually product management was not what we now call product management. Basically, it was not about digital. It was more about building the customer experience around a service. But I would say the fundamentals are very much similar. So it was a good start.
Okay, yeah, that's like really amazing. But also, you mentioned in in most of your previous podcasts that you're always passionate about organic growth.
Yeah.
And when you even started from scratch of developing TBC in banking in Uzbekistan, you just liked it from greenfield, like licensing. Yeah. Then the plan, roadmap, and everything. So, but before that, you've been prepared for this, right? Like there was a whole business plan, and how you just made a decision coming to Uzbekistan and everything.
Yeah, it was a big process. Firstly, it didn't start from Uzbekistan because Uzbekistan suddenly opened up for us. No, it was a conscious decision, which is coming actually from many big achievements in Georgia. TBC itself is a bank which was created back in 1992 in Georgia from scratch. It was we call it a startup in itself, because if you look at these big established banks, basically 30 years for a banking institution is not a lot. So TBC is its on early journey, I hope, of its existence. 1992, then it developed into a multi-segment, multi-product banking institution. Now in Georgia, I'm always saying this, we have a customer in every family, or even more customers in the families, because we have 2.5 million registered users, out of which approximately 60-70% are monthly active in different ways. So it's a huge penetration. And in 2014, we got listed in London on the London Stock Exchange, and then premium listed, I think, 2 years or 3 years afterwards. And in 2016, we acquired the third biggest bank in the country, which was owned back then by Societe Generale. Yeah. Mm-hmm. and this made us the biggest banking institution in banking group in Caucasus region. And this was exactly the tipping point, I would say, where we sat down and said, what we're going to do. We will remain in Georgia, grow together with the market, maybe get a bit more market share gradually, but we're going to look at other markets. And this was exactly the decision that we want to go to other markets. And parallel to that, not because of international expansion, we started building digital capabilities in the bank, in the group. We launched a neobank in Georgia because we just wanted to understand how it would feel, how it would be managed inside a banking group, but totally separately, to run a digital bank. And we launched, we called it Space because we wanted to differentiate the brand names. We called it Space, and Space was a separate banking app built on the license of TBC Bank in Georgia. That's why I call it Neobank. And it was very successful. We got in the first year of operations approximately 500,000 registered customers, approximately 100,000 monthly active users. The loan portfolio started to build up everything, and in parallel to that came the decision of entering to Uzbekistan, and this is where we used Space. Basically, we launched Space then afterwards in Uzbekistan, and this is what we see now under TBC Uz.
But are those like two segregated, so kind of a projects? How you're just like managing?
No, it is one project. We closed down Space Georgia because there was no more need for this. It was kind of proof of concept. In Georgia, Georgian retail business has approximately 40% market share, so there is no need for us to have another digital bank. We are already very big there. So that's why we closed it down to have as less the focus as possible. And the Space remains as our backbone platform, banking platform for TBC Uzbekistan.
Yeah, because for Uzbekistan is a bit unusual. So having a bank without any branches, so you can just do everything like by just like if you have your, I don't know, like your phone. I mean, you can get the loan, you can be approved like immediately, and your customer support can call it. They can call you like in 10 minutes or 5. So it's unusual, honestly.
It is unusual, but it is. I would say it was unusual back in 2018-19. And then gradually these things became a new normal. Now, to be honest, I don't know any bank in Uzbekistan that is not doing something in digital. So, and it is very good. And the regulator is doing lots of changes for all of us to be good in digital. And the country in retail banking, I would say, is becoming very digitalized. So, in this regard, I think things are going fine and on a very high pace.
Yeah. So, but anyways, like I say, this is a really good example for other existing banks as a TBC, showing that there is no need like having lots of branches. It's not about profitability or revenue. I mean, you can just.
We are big believers of branchless concept because we think that again the mission of the group is making people's life easier. So. And we operate on this mission for last, I would say, almost 10 years now. And we made this as a group mission because we understood that through digital, one can really make people's life easier in financial services.
Yeah, and also like researching about your profile a bit, and I got this story that dad and son, they were like in a kind of a toy store. And he wanted. It
was mom and son.
Mom and son. Yeah. And but how that meaning that you have really deep empathy to people. So you just like you paid attention to this and that I'm creating a product now. So she just like got this.
This was a funny story because the lady was in a shopping mall and the kids saw on the first floor something and all 3 floors up basically talked everything possible to persuade the mom to buy the toy, and then the mom didn't have money, and basically she was telling me the story, positively surprised that while coming down on the escalators to the first floor, basically she started the application in TBC and got cash on her account and paid for the toy. And she was amazed because she didn't have enough money. So basically it took her like several minutes to finish to start and finish everything.
Meaning that, I mean, to be honest, I haven't, I haven't researched your app yet, but meaning that it's like super simple and easy to use. If a simple mom and housewife, so she got the loan like within a couple of minutes.
It's super easy.
So meaning that you like UI and UX like is really good. So you also
we do our best to make it very good and differentiate ourselves on the market.
Coming back to M&A, so you said that in 2016 you acquired Societe Generale
in Georgia.
In Georgia, yeah. And this is a milestone that has been started, that you started acquiring some kind of an entities, because after this you acquired like many entities.
No, I wouldn't say so. I mean, we on the group level, we do not like inorganic growth. I mean, TBC is all about organic growth.
Yeah.
But once in a while, you are in a situation where you need to do some inorganic moves. And I would say that Bank Republic, a member of the Societe Generale Group back then, was one of those moves. And then we started building in Georgia kind of a digital ecosystem around the customer. We acquired one platform which is now approximately 70% market shareholder of ticketing in Georgia, ticket.ge. And then we acquired several platforms which made us the biggest classified service provider, kind of OLX in Uzbekistan, in Georgia. And then we built our own marketplace in Georgia. So basically, some things you buy, some things you build. So, but like, overall, we are more organic people.
But it's like really interesting. Is it like meaning that so you acquire those companies, non-financial companies, but at the same time, then after this, you are actually I'm not researching, but processing them and then giving them financial products, your own solutions, right? It's
we are trying to find, let's call it synergies. We are trying to find synergies between those platforms, those businesses, and other businesses. Because, the concept of the ecosystem for us is, first, it's two sides of the coin, right? One is from the customer's point of view, and the other one is from business rationale and business point of view. So customer's point of view is simple. I mean, we want to have, from early morning till the very late night, as many touch points with the customer as possible. So if you imagine 9 a.m. one woke up and 12 p.m. basically goes to bed, how many times did we make sure that we were in customer's life and made it easier? This is from customer point of view. But from the business point of view, in the ecosystem, every product should play a role. There are products which are facilitating customer acquisition. There are products which engage customers. And there are products which earn us money. And this is how we split the product portfolio, basically. So, and product or business portfolio.
But how is the correlation between the CAC, like client acquisition,
cost?
Cost. For example, you acquired those non-financial companies. So they were like with users, existing clients, right? Yeah. And at the same time, if you are just building a bank and also acquiring the clients directly, so for the bank products, like how is the correlation between it? Is it cheaper?
No, I mean, depends. It is not always cheaper. It is definitely more data rich, and it is supposed to be cheaper, but sometimes the customers are not easy to convert into some products.
Yeah.
So basically you need to spend some money, you need to reach them, explain them, many other things. And some products, again, are costly. For instance, now we launched in Uzbekistan Salom card, which is, in my opinion, the best daily banking product in the country. It will definitely disrupt the market, and we already see fantastic growth. We have more than 20,000 customers after 1 week of the launch, basically. So, and it is very costly because we offer very good tariffs and fees, basically, for customers. So mostly they are free. I mean, you can withdraw money from any ATM in the country for free. And if you consider what is the inherent cost of it, it is costly. However, if you look at the customer's profitability as a whole, you will see that there, basically, you're spending money on customers' activation. But here, basically, you potentially would earn on the loan or on credit card on something that is more revenue kind of driven product.
Okay, And also coming back to 2018 and 19, so you entered the Uzbek market, you got your license approved, and then within like super short period of time, you have decided to buy some kind of a payment institution.
It was before even.
Before, yeah.
So when we entered Uzbekistan, I mean, entering Uzbekistan, we can call it as an event when basically we got 51% of Payme, or we can even go one step before that and say we came to Uzbekistan in 2018.
Yeah.
And this was the very early stage of all the reforms that were taking place and the big changes that were already in the air. You know, everybody was talking about it. And this was the moment where we decided that we want to be in Uzbekistan. We understood that it is a massive country with a huge potential and many good things about its future. And basically, then we started to research. And we understood that the payment infrastructure in the country is very peculiar, in the positive sense of this word, because we understood that the banks are not that digitalized.
Yep.
80% of the banking sector was state-owned. The mobile apps were not present in the banking value proposition, but there was Humo and Uzcat that were operating on the open banking principles, which allowed the cards issued on these two payment systems to be bank agnostic.
Yeah.
So people would get the card and they would basically link the card, attach the card to, and now I come to this peculiarity, to any payment app that serves as a card aggregation app. Basically, there are payments apps in the country like Click, Payme,
Yeah.
Paynet, and many others that can attach the card to themselves, link the card to themselves, and then operate the card as if the card is operated in the native app of the issuer.
Mm-hmm.
And this is amazing. Basically, we have the market where we have banks, then we have card aggregators, and then we have customers. And the customers were going to these apps because their UX was fantastic. You know, they were offering online digitalized services. And this is where we understood that if we want to get quick access to the digital customer base, we have to somehow get shareholding in one of those. And we looked at various, and we ended up talking to Payme people, and they got interested as well.
But you spoke to Click as well.
We spoke to everybody, actually. We spoke to Click as well. Paynet, others. Appelsin we didn't speak because Appelsin was owned. Firstly, Appelsin was launched a bit later, if I remember correctly. And secondly, it was owned by Capital Bank. So Capital Bank, there would be no reason to talk to them.
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
Appelsin was a great project, to be honest. Very successful.
So actually, but you made a really quick move anyways, like within like short period of time. You got your license approved, and then you decided to buy the Payme. And so like official talks started, right? So
yeah, I mean, we approached Payme guys. I met Payme's founder, Sarvar Rozmatov, a great entrepreneur and one of the young faces of Uzbekistan. And basically, he persuaded his partners as well. And then we opened up the discussion. Yeah.
Meaning that like other partners were not like...
They were not visible. The first talk I had, personally, I met Sarvar back in the day. I remember the meeting very well. And then it started. And then
but did you have like your own kind of a roadmap, how you're going to integrate Payme, like whole, I don't know?
No, I mean, this is a very good question. And there was no roadmap, and there is no roadmap now still, because we never wanted to integrate Payme.
Yeah.
We never wanted to merge Payme. We wanted to keep Payme as a separate institution.
Wow.
And this is what is happening until today.
Okay.
Why? Because we understood that Payme brand is loved by the customers. I mean, and people, especially in Tashkent and bigger cities, because Payme is less rural or regional than other players. Payme is an urban app, I would call it this way. Now it's of course changing, and it changed because Payme has, if I remember correctly, like 14-15 million registered users. So it's impossible to be only in the cities. But back then it was more urban. And basically we understood that people love it. So why would we merge Payme into TBC, into a brand that nobody knows? We have to build TBC, and we have to make sure that TBC stands on its both feet, and then we can call it a one group, which is happening now, which is basically that Payme exists by itself, TBC stands by itself, and we are now building synergies between Payme and TBC.
Okay, but also how you just like structured this M&A deal back to 2019 is like in a super sophisticated manner has been like done. You just applied this call option structure.
And this reflects exactly the fact that we were not willing to integrate Payme. Why? Because we wanted to develop Payme, and the best people were in this position were the founders and the managers of Payme. And Sarwar was the first CEO of Payme, and then a second partner continued to be the next CEO. And we had this structure, which was 4 years long structure, which was put and call option, basically.
Yeah.
Put from our side and call from the founding team side, which would kick in after 4 years of the contract. For the remaining 49%, so we acquired 51%. And it worked fantastically well because the team managed the company ever since the acquisition. And I personally and the team had time to build the bank. Because if from the very first day we would have to manage two institutions, one building the institution and second one already big institution, it would be a big defocus. So it was a great help from the team to basically do this for us.
Okay, but also we have to explain about this call option structure. Everyone knows about so TBC acquired Payme, but they don't know the specifics, right? So this call option structure is really famous. Even Alibaba and Lazada M&A deal also happened so by using this structure. I mean, lots of global examples like that.
And this is where we took it from. Basically, let's call it this way. Maybe it was one of the first first cases in Uzbekistan where this was applied, but globally it is quite a common thing. I mean, when you acquire a company, especially a startup, which basically then grew and it is still founder managed, you would want to make sure that you have a transition period. You have a period where nothing falls apart. When you have the team still doing their job, people happy, they see that you are not a hostile kind of acquirer, you want to develop the company. So these all things really matter after the acquisition. So for us, it was key to make sure that the team is motivated, the team remains, and there is a structure applied to the remaining 49% where if the value increases of the company, the cash basically paid afterwards would also increase. And this is exactly what we did. There was the structure which had monthly active users, which had revenues, and which had EBIT, basically.
Yeah, EBIT, But they have showed spectacular figures within the
very good figures. There is one caveat, though, which is a difficulty, in my opinion, and talking about this experience, is that you have to be very good in making sure that the long-term strategy and the short-term interest is not colliding, because basically you would end up in a situation where, of course, if a person knows that the person is willing to exit in 4 years or 2 years or 1 year, then basically motivational aspects change.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is something which requires lots of professionalism and the right proper approach from both sides to make sure that nothing breaks. Did we do well in Payme case? I think we did fantastically well because the company, I won't say with whom, but caught up with competitors even in profitability when we were number 2, number 3 back then. So the company continues to grow fantastically well, and it's already 1 full year, more than 1 full year. It was May 2023 when we bought it fully out, and it's 1.5 years actually. That the company develops, grows. The growth is like year on year 35%, in some parameters 40%. We are now number 1 or number 2 in net profit in this business. So basically, we are doing very well.
So meaning, and also valuation was around 100 million, right?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but the second tranche, basically, the 49% was bought out, if I remember correctly, for $55 million. Yeah, The initial was 5.5, and the second one was around 55.
And also, I paid attention to the PE ratio, like price to earnings. It's around 6%, which means if you're gonna look at this global perspective, it's much higher actually. Is it maybe correlation or connected with developing emerging market? Is it because of this? Can you just?
Yeah, I think the PE ratio. I don't remember, to be honest. What was the initial PE ratio?
Yeah, 6 point something.
Yeah, I don't remember. And what was even on the buyout moment? But because for that I should remember the earnings, and I don't remember that number. But But basically, yes, the market reflects, the PE ratios reflect the market overall, and this is normal for emerging markets overall. If you look at the fintechs or companies in our industry, they basically all are priced a bit lower because there are understandable and explainable aspects to it. But there are also good examples. I mean, we had other players in post-Soviet space, like Tinkoff, for instance, which at the peak, if I remember correctly, P ratio was massive. The market cap was like 27 billion or something. So it was even higher than Kaspi. So at one point. So basically, so the market reflects the reality, and the price reflects the reality. However, there are good examples as well where the valuations can be very high.
And also this deal like has been considered one of the, how to say, rightly structured, and also one of the transparent deals.
I mean, it was taken by the market as a, well done, guys. You did it in a proper, transparent manner. And this was the overall comment. However, when saying this, one should consider that TBC Group is a London-listed, premium-listed company with lots of investors from all over the world, and we have to do everything the way it should be done. And that's why the transparency was ensured, everything was disclosed in the way it should have been.
Yeah.
And this is why it was so transparent, let's call it this way. Even if it caught by surprise overall the market, because it was the first structure like this in the Uzbek.
But also this is like really, how to say, it is like really smart move from your side as well, that you picked up and selected the right sellers, because sellers also, they just like, how to say, accomplished all their, promised rules and etc., like conditions, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
it was not something like a game, because in M&As it's all the time happening, like someone is playing a game or something like that.
No, I mean, let's be very frank. Did we have situations where it was difficult with the minorities, which the founding minorities afterwards? Yes, of course. And there are lots of situations where you discuss certain things and you have different opinions, and there are some short-termistic views, and we would go for long-term, and many situations like this. But overall, if you do a helicopter view, things went very well. I mean, this transaction worked out to be a very good transaction. And for everybody, basically. Everybody is happy, and things were managed well. So I can be, and TBC Group overall can be only thankful to the founders because it is an amazing business that grew, and it is growing already for more than 10 years, and it's doing a great job.
Okay, yeah. And also this like really big applause that you haven't changed their name. You just like left everything as it was. But have you hired more people after acquiring?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the company grew. When we acquired, it was like, 20, 30 people. I don't remember the number, to be honest, but now it's like almost 300 people. So it grew massively.
Yeah, and this is one of the, how to say, really sparkling advantages of the, effective M&A deals. So you created more jobs. It's a capital inflow. It's like around 200 million into
overall, if you take TBC plus Payme, it's around $200 million brought into the country now.
Like starting from 2018?
18 till today, yeah.
Okay. But also I just looked up the FDI in Uzbekistan. So for this year, it's like around 5 billion or something.
I don't know the figure, but it's a lot. It's huge.
And I also just like make comparison with Turkey. Turkey was around 7 billion, but Turkish population is 80 million. Here is like 40 million. Yeah. And the main advantage of Turkey is like it's a geolocation. Uzbekistan is more just like super, easier to...
No, I think, Uzbekistan is a new entrant to the global investment market. And we are part of it because TBC Group, again, as a London-listed company, we have to do quarterly reporting to our investors, and it's called sometimes roadshows and quarterly calls. And basically, we educate the market about Uzbekistan as well, because for us, Uzbekistan is a big story. And we see the progress. We see the awareness around Uzbekistan brand name, so to say, investment destination in 2018 and today, and it's massively changing. So overall, the country is becoming very popular in the investment community.
And can you also shed a light on this IFC and EBRD role? Because like in your company structure, there is a TBC holding.
Yeah.
On the right hand, there's a TBC Uz and Payme, and your Georgian part. So like in this.
Yeah. So firstly, EBRD and IFC, these are development banks. So their mandate is to develop the countries, the economies, and certain institutions. And it's a very frequent case when EBRD and IFC would take shareholding in certain companies that facilitate the development. Banking sector is one of the very good examples. We partner with EBRD and IFC for many years now. They are still, I think, TBC Group shareholders, starting from 2000s. And TBC learned lots of things from EBRD and IFC in terms of governance, in terms of many things. So these companies brought lots of good things for TBC back in those years. Now in Uzbekistan, same thing. We were setting up the institution. EBRD and IFC were prioritizing the country as a whole, and we teamed up, basically said, why don't we basically do it together in Uzbekistan, especially considering that we wanted to build a digital bank. And for EBRD and IFC, if I'm not mistaken, this was the first ever digital bank investment as such in the startup. So it was a very interesting story. Now, they were not part of Payme because basically Payme was a separate transaction. Yeah. But again, there is an interest there too overall, and we are using it as our kind of one ecosystem approach. So that's why EBRD IFC just helped us to do many things, and bringing capital, of course. And apart capital, there are many other processes, funding, and for investors it is much clearer that they are helping a lot and stuff. So there are many pluses in this regard.
So what can I say? You are really effective on selecting the right and really, trusted partners. So
yeah, I mean, it worked out very well for us. Yeah.
But you also listed on FTSE 250.
Yes, we are part of FTSE 250. This is important because it reflects the top 350 companies on the London Stock Exchange in terms of market cap. So when a Georgian banking group, now already present in Uzbekistan, is represented on LSE, premium listed on LSE, and plus member of the FTSE 250 index, that means something. So we're happy about it.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, that's like super great and spectacular results.
Thank you.
And coming back to your team management. So you are how many people in now TBC Uz, and how you're handling to manage all this team members?
We have now approximately 3,000 people.
In Uzbekistan, right?
For Uzbekistan would be more proper to say, because we have 2 office locations. One hub is in Uzbekistan, of course, where we have most of our people, and the second hub is in Tbilisi, Georgia. And then we have a third hub basically opening up hopefully in Almaty, because we have some team members there too, and generally Kazakhstani human capital market is very interesting and very deep. And plus we have lots of team members who are on remote in different geographic locations. Altogether we have currently approximately 10 geographic locations and 25 different nationalities in a team of 3,100 people approximately by the end of the year, should be. So it's quite a big company, yeah. And this all built just in a bit more than 4 years.
Okay, but how about the diversity and inclusivity? Do you also pay attention to this?
Of course we do, and we pay attention. How should I say it? We do not pay attention to this topic in a way that it should be a ratio. I mean, this is very inherent thing for us, and there is no separation. That we should have men or women. I mean, we have lots of on the group level. TBC Group has 70% women and 30% men on the group level. So I think this would be one of the best ratios in the world.
Okay.
In Uzbekistan, we have 4 board members, women. In the management, we have lots of women. So basically, for us, this diversity topic somehow is very naturally fit into our daily practice, and we do take care about it. I mean, but we do it in the back processes. But overall, I mean, we approach it as a very natural fit, basically, and this is important for us. Yeah.
But how would you comment this following statement? There is no any gender in any profession or business. How do you look at it?
Listen, for me, gender is a natural thing, and approaching gender as an obstacle for operations is, in my opinion, wrong. I have seen fantastic women. I have seen fantastic men, super productive, super capable in various functions. For instance, now again, in the management we have women who are super strong and super important for our success. So. I don't like this separation. I clearly, the question, am I aware of the problem globally? I think I am aware of the problem globally, and I do agree with the problem. And yes, we take care of this, but we do not want to make this separation even stronger by having policies.
By making an accent on this, stressing out, Okay.
This is my personal approach. I mean, but generally, again, TBC Group has 70% women and 30% men. So we are very much taking care of this aspect.
And also, I really would like to know your opinion about this climate and environment related stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, again, we are an international company, and there are several aspects to it. I would call this altogether a CSR topic, corporate social responsibility topic, which should be taken in two ways. One is when you are part of the global ecosystem, there are certain things you should follow, you should adhere, and you should kind of comply with. So compliance component, which is very important, and we, as member of many different structures, we comply with many different rules. But on the other hand, there is a natural understanding of a problem, right? I mean, do we understand the problem that there are lots of problems in terms of nature, in terms of, the various ESG topics, because there is not one ESG topic, right? Yes, we do, and we have lots of things that we do around it, and we are, in my opinion, we are one of the most active CSR companies in Uzbekistan and Georgia. So, yeah. Basically, my answer is we do take care. We make it part of our daily operations.
Like social campaigns.
Yeah, not only campaigns. I mean, we have lots of programs which promote women entrepreneurship, for instance, right? I mean, we have several programs that at the same time working which promote women entrepreneurship. We have, I don't remember the ratio of green financing, but we have certain portfolio quite significant and growing financing green projects and green stuff and so on and so on. So basically, we do lots of things in this regard. Yeah.
And do you have your VC arm as well?
No, we don't do that. We are a commercial bank. We take deposits, we sell loans. We don't invest our depositors' money into projects, startup projects. We don't.
You are strictly focused on banking.
Yeah, we do commercial banking. Yeah. We basically, again, accept deposits and then disperse loans.
And one of the highlighted topics, I got lots of insights from other people who really wanted to be hired by your bank. And can you tell this process as well, and on which skills you are mostly focused? And are you just a decision maker, or you have a team?
No,
on the final.
Initially, so basically, let's split the question into two components. How am I, as a kind of TBC Uzbekistan business CEO, involved in that? Initially I was interviewing literally everybody, but as we grew, it became impossible. So currently, I'm trying to interview as many as possible. Yes, as many as possible.
Okay.
I have interviews on the daily level. So basically, every day I would do one or two interviews. And somehow the structure is managed by our human capital team. So I'm very much involved in the hiring process personally. What I do in the hiring process is mostly I try to understand the culture fit. now on critical positions and on the leadership positions. Because culture fit, and this is which brings me to the second question, culture fit is like super important for us. We have on average 4 to 6 interviews
per day.
Not per day, per one person. Which comes to the head office structures. Of course, when we have mass recruitment practices for functions like front office people, the sales agents, there is different. But when we talk about the head office structures, we would end up like 3, 4 interviews on average. Sometimes it would go up even to the 6 rounds of interviews, because we are very careful in selecting the right people with the right mindset, with the right skill set, and with the right culture.
And can you also give me some opinion about this, how to say, Georgian market and Uzbek market in terms of like human resource management, in terms of, because we have like lots of youngsters here living, and they're like, I don't know, spectacular skills, etc. that you're gonna say, okay, so this Uzbek, I don't know, youngster, they're good at this, and Georgian part is good at that, for example.
Firstly, Georgia, in terms of certain things, is more advanced. In terms of certain things, it is less advanced. So Georgia has its own story. It is a smaller market. It is very limited in human capital in terms of number of people, and it is, as I said, strong in certain industries. Uzbekistan is a powerhouse of human capital. It's a huge country, very growing. The huge accent is done on technological STEM directions, I would say. We see exports of technological services growing. The Ministry of Innovations and Technology is doing a great job in increasing this is why IT Park basically was mandated, right, and created. So Uzbekistan has to offer lots of things in technology. It is growing. Is it enough? No, it is not enough. Now it's initially I was saying it was enough, but now I see that the digitalization is growing so much in the country that everybody needs people, and there are new entrants to the market. So human capital is becoming a scarcity, and that's why we are sourcing people from other markets. That's why Almaty office comes into play, for instance, for us. But overall, I would say Uzbekistan has much bigger potential to offer than Georgia in terms of number of human capital. Certain things are still a bit immature, but this is also on the way, because basically certain things just appeared in the country. For instance, cloud is not really allowed, so basically there are not many cloud specialists. Which in Georgia is the case because cloud is allowed, so you would have lots of Amazon Web Services specialists in Georgia and so on and so on. So it's like, different markets, different specificities, but Uzbekistan is massive in terms of human capital.
So, and the last question, coming back to all of your M&A deals that you acquired, like it's, I just counted maybe 4 or 5, something like that.
1, 2, which I remember.
TKG,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6 maybe.
Yeah, and out of them
that I remember, but I'm sure TBC
and out of
before.
them, which was how to say? I know that every acquired company had been really profitable for you, and you just then you converted it into really organic business, right? But out of those, all of this M&A deals, which was like superstar, like I don't know, like kind of a unicorn for you?
I don't know. I wouldn't say there was any. I mean, each of them, again, TBC is not a inorganic growth-driven company. We are very organic growth-driven company. We like growing by ourselves, and if we buy something, it fits into this organic growth, because we wouldn't buy just for the balance sheet purpose, right? We wouldn't buy a company where we would say, we are just doubling our balance sheet. Did we do something like this in our past? Yes, we do, and this is coming as we go, but we prefer to grow by ourselves. That's why I would say each acquisition had its own role. For instance, buying TKG opened up a totally new strategy for us of ecosystems, right? Buying Payme was a catalyst for us to enter Uzbekistan and acquire customers in Uzbekistan. I don't know, buying My Group was, again, a prolongation of the strategy with TKG and becoming number 1 in Georgia with classified business. And many other things, So basically, buying Bank Republic was a balance sheet play. Basically, we acquired a very similar bank, and by this we just increased our customer base, which was a pure inorganic kind of growth thing. For instance, before Bank Republic, we bought Bank Constanta, which was sounds like inorganic growth in terms of increasing your balance sheet, but in reality it was not. In reality, we acquired the bank which was number one in Georgia for microfinance, financing small entrepreneurs and family businesses, and by this we built the knowledge and the muscle for microfinance.
Okay, so I lost. I lost my
the
okay.
question.
No, you're gonna cut. What are your recommendations or I don't know, valuable advice for those new entrants who are gonna make a step forward to Uzbekistan market and who are really feared because of this uncertainty and the regulatory frameworks, etc. So you made a really great job. It's not something that you got connections with someone. You made it like everything in the right way. So, people just come and find an information about this TBC Payme deal at RNS, so like news portal by London Stock Exchange, and boom, everything is super transparent. So can you just give your recommendations for them,
The
please?
key recommendation is that the train left in 2018 and it is increasing the speed and running ahead like crazy, and if they want to be quick and successful in Uzbekistan, they have to jump on the train as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Because the country is growing, the population is growing. Last year we grew by 1 million people, and then if you look at our announcements back in the day, Uzbekistan, we were saying, was 32 million. Now officially it's almost 38 million. So in just 5 years, the country added 2 Georgias to itself almost. So in this regard, the average growth rate of GDP is like 5-6%, and it is forecasted to be for another 5 years, 5-6%. So the train is running like crazy, and the investors should take this seriously and be on time in the market.
So when it's like someone asking when, it's
now.
It's now.
Yesterday.
Yeah, you should do it yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm like super inspired by what you have shared. I didn't want to make this podcast super long. It should be viral, and there should be some kind of a room for thoughts. For the thoughts and for the questions, they should just address you or me or come to Uzbekistan and start testing the market, right?
Test the market.
So, thanks for our audience and thanks for coming. Nika Kurdiani, who is the Chief Executive Officer of TBC Uzbekistan, and super extraordinary.
Thanks for inviting.
Person. Yeah. Thank you. Nodira Sadikova, I'm your host.